So the following clip is taken from a longer video in which I explain how I came to believe in idealism, this being the view that reality is mind dependent. So ultimate reality is not physical, but is in some way mental or experiential. This clip in particular is me discussing an essay, or a chapter in a book, I should say, by Tom Stoneham on Berkeley. It's been a few years since I'd read it, and I think I misattribute it as being a paper, but it's a chapter from an edited book called Consciousness and the Great Philosophers. So here we go. So I'll just mention it briefly. There was a paper by Tom Stoneham who talks about Berkeley's idealism, and it really helped to clarify or make explicit something about idealism that might help people to see that it's not this silly position that some might think it is, and probably simplifying this load. It's been a while since I read Stoneham's paper, but I think the basic idea is essentially, the normal way of viewing the world that people tend to think about the world is they think, we've got a person here, we've got an object here, and the person perceives the object, and that object exists within their mind somehow. They have an idea of the object, they have their perception of the object, or their idea or their perception of the object. So you've got three things really. You've got the person, you've got the idea, and then you've got the object. That's the normal way of viewing things. And that idea, that floating around us above the person, that's consciousness that we have the hard problem of consciousness with. How do we account for that in, if the object out here, if this is the realm of the world, where is that located? What is that? And now when people think about idealism, what people often think is, so you got the person, you got the object or the world, and then you got the idea floating above the person. And people often think that idealism gets rid of the object and says, those aren't real, just stick with the ideas here. And that's why people think it means that you're saying reality is illusory. But Stoneham points out that even for Berkeley, who people think is the kind of archetypal, kind of crazy, let's get rid of the world, say it's not real idealist, even for him, it's actually not that way around. It's, you've got the person, and the normal way of viewing things, you got the little image in his head, and you've got the object, you've got the world. And Stoneham says essentially what Berkeley does and what idealism does, or at least good idealisms maybe, I don't know, that'd be my contribution, is it gets rid of that. It gets rid of that above there. And so all you've got is this and this. And you might say, well, isn't that physicalism? It's like, no. I mean, perhaps it could be not naive realist physicalism in some sense. It's a different argument, right? The point is that idealism does this. You got the self, and then you got the world. The only difference here is we've eliminated the middleman, that airy-fairy kind of, what's going on there bit. And we've said, what we've got here, all that we need to do is construe it or understand this as experiential, as experience, as idea. So I look at this Pepsi can. It's not that I think, okay, there's me, and then there's this Pepsi can, which is a physical thing, but there's also, when I'm looking at it, I can't get to that physical thing. So I'm just kind of imagining this physical thing in some sense. And actually that means there is no, because I can't get beyond that, then I've got to say that it's imaginary. It's like, no, I'll just say there's two things. There's me and there's this Pepsi can. It's just that I'm construing this Pepsi can as experienced, which it is. I'm experiencing it. And if you look at it, you'll be experiencing it too. If we describe it in mathematical properties, we'll be experiencing those mathematical properties manifest on a page in equations, or in our heads as ideas about what might underlie it in some sense, or how it might behave if it were melted down into its constituent parts or something. It's all experiential, but it's all the same as we experience. We've not posited some invisible realm of perception. It's just that is what things are. It doesn't change them, doesn't make them less real. They're still there. If I turn away, that Pepsi can's still there, because all that it means for it to still be there is I'll perceive it when I look back at it. It's not that it disappears, it's just that there is no other frame of reference to work from. So yeah, I thought I'd end on that, just a bit of Stoneham, because I definitely recommend checking out the paper. I'll leave a link to it in the description.